All right. So, what was your first gig as a professional? Like your first session gig?
First
What
session
led up
gig.
to that?
Okay, yeah. It was at Rockfield Studios in Monmouth in Wales.
Okay.
Quite a famous studio. A lot of great records were done there over the years. But that was my first session. And my friend was playing keys in a show band. When I say show band, they would do everything from Glenn Miller to like the Boney M to whatever pop was in the charts, you know. Like,
Right.
so they were in the studio for some reason, I don't know why, and I just went down to hang. And the bass player in the band, you know, they wanted like some slap and pop bass, and the bass player they had wasn't familiar with that style, and I happened to be there. So my friend told the musical director, and he's like, "Would you try playing this bass line?" So that was the first time I put a pair of headphones on in the studio, and played with a band, and I just loved it, man. I couldn't believe it.
How old were you?
19 maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then, what led to? We know of you. Well, okay. I guess Paul Young was Giles
Jules Holland.
Jules Holland first.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah.
Okay.
Jules Holland got me to move down to London,
Okay.
so he
So-
offered me a.
Well, let me explain. Was Jules Holland in?
Squeeze.
Right. He was originally in Squeeze first, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had just
Before
left
he became a
Squeeze.
talk show host.
Before he had his
Yes.
solo thing with the Millionaires.
Yeah, Jules Holland and his
and
Millionaires,
So, and then the talk show came much later, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was that experience like playing? How long did you play with him?
Oh, I played with Jules for probably like a year, 18 months or something like that.
There's a great album cover. That
In the car?
That Pino's on, yeah.
That was fun, man. I love those days. That was fun days. So playing with Jules, I was just playing my Fender bass, and I went down to audition in London because the sax player in Jules's band, I knew him in Cardiff, and he said Jules is looking for a bass player. So I went down to London and auditioned. Just sat in his room and played with him. Followed the left-hand piano thing, you know, the boogie woogie kind of piano thing, and we hit it off. And he said, you know, why don't you just join the band? I'll pay you £50 a week. You can sleep on my couch. So that's how I moved to London.
What year is this?
1981.
Okay, so was that a good living?
Oh, financially?
Yeah.
Hell no. But it was okay. It was okay. I survived on it.
I always ask this question. I never get like a satisfactory answer, which, you know, I'm just trying to time travel and also deal with the inflation part of it all. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know, in 81, in
What-
your mind, what is a good living? Like, what would have been ideal for you? Is it 500 pounds a week?
Not even, like, you know, 200. I would have been happy with 200 a week back then. I would have thought I was doing really well.
Okay. So what does 50 pounds a week get you in London in terms, like, are you just crashing in a room, in a couch,
Back in, it was
hardly
just
eating?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well, Jules' mum used to cook for us, bless her. So, yeah, that was nice. But yeah, not a very healthy diet. You know, packet of cigarettes, some weed, you know, usual thing.
The normal diet, musician's
Nothing
diet.
much on my as far as touring is concerned, like, you also had to tour this unit, correct?
Yeah, we toured. Oh, this year, did you say? Sorry.
No.
With Jules back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did some touring. That's my first tour of America, actually, in New York.
Really?
Yeah, we did a tour of the East Coast, just traveling up and down in Miles Copeland's van. Miles Copeland was the manager back
Stewart's brother, right?
in the day. Yeah, manager of the police.
Okay. Was he also the manager of Jules? or-
Jules, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we did a little touring with that. We released one record that didn't do too well.
Nice album cover.
But yeah, exactly. But whilst I was in New York, I went into Sam Ash Music on 48th Street, where all the great music stores were back in the day, right?
Best block.
And I walked in there and I saw this Music Man fretless bass on the wall. And I was like, oh, I'd like to try that. So I asked the guy if I could try it, and I played it, and I could play it in tune. You know, it really suited me, that bass. So I bought that bass there and then, and that was the bass
Is that the bass?
that led to all the fretless sessions that I got to do after that.
So such a unusual sound than what you were previously playing on.
Yeah.
Was there any convincing Paul Young or Chris DeBarge? I always say Chris DeBarge.
Chris
Chris DeBarge.
Chris de Burgh.
Krista Berg. Okay.
Krista Berg, yeah.
Like, was there any, or not even them, like their producers or?
You know how that all came about in me? Whilst I was with Jules, I got a call from a friend of mine, Chris Slade, who was the drummer at the time with Gary Newman. He went on to play with AC/DC and a whole bunch of stuff and played with Tom Jones back in the early days. So this guy done incredible work.
Wait, you're trying to tell me the same guy that played Cars with Gary Newman was also the guy that could have been played on It's Not Unusual?
Not Cars, but the album after that. Is an album I was involved in called I Assassin by Gary Newman.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the weird thing. If you ask Wendy and Lisa about, you know, the influential records, like, it's so weird. They mention every album but that. Like, they'll mention I Assassin and the
For
one that
real?
came out in
Wow.
80. Like, if you listen to that, if you listen to the 82 record, the album that came after, Prince basically, like, it's kind of his North Star.
He might have listened to that?
Yeah.
Oh, that freaks me out.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. So yeah, this guy, Chris Slade, he phoned me up whilst I was with Jules Holland. He said, look, I'm working with Gary Newman. He's looking for a fretless bass player. Do you have a fretless? And I said, well, as it happens, I just bought one in New York just a few months ago, you know. He said, well, bring the fretless and, you know, let's see how it goes. So I went to the studio, met Gary. He had a bunch of tunes, like just drum beats and really minimal kind of keyboard things. And he just wanted me to do some fretless shit all over the record. So that album became my calling card in a way, because I got to make up all my own bass lines.
So people heard that, and then...
Yeah, you know, I got on Top of the Pops with Gary, which was a big thing at the time. And, you know, the sound was pretty fresh because it didn't sound like Jacko's sound, but it was fretless. Probably a cross between like Jacko and Mick Kahn. You know Mick Kahn from Japan, the band Japan?
I'm not familiar with the work, no.
Yeah, so he played fretless bass and he had a unique style. So I would put myself somewhere in the middle of that, like with jazz references, but also like arty kind of arty style of bass playing.
Right.
Pino, how do you approach construction of fretless bass lines versus fretted? Is it a different approach? Do you think about it
Yes.
differently?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
In what sense?
Well, the way I would approach it on the fretless bass is more from a melodic
Yeah.
sense, you know, just trying to find melodies, and because it's a very expressive instrument, right there.
I'm going to try to spell this word, and I'm going to figure out what this means. And
Fretless?
I'm a musician like the rest of y'all.
Oh,
Oh.
that's
All right,
great.
so a
We're
fretless-
nerding out here, right?
So you've seen a bass player before, right? In terms of like the part that they play with their left hand.
Okay.
A fretless bass, I would say, is the sound of, like, you know the difference between electric, what Adam Blackstone plays, and an upright that Krista McBride plays,
Yes.
like the jazzier sound. A fretless can give you the sound of an upright jazz. Am I incorrect or?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have any frets, so you can just slide the notes. You know, it's a different envelope to the note. There's a different shape to
It's
the
Lady
note.
in Red. You know that song?
Yeah.
That's the sound of the fretless bass.
You don't know Lady in Red.
Guess like Lady in Red.
Yeah,
Oh
we-
yeah,
I'm an 80s
we
baby.
know your work,
love
Peter.
that. That's amazing.
But now you got me curious about.
Assassin?
Should have just said.
I
Assassin.
Assassin, right?
Should've
I
said Woman in
Assassin.
Red and fuck all
So
of them.
like, we take Mystery to Bed. That's one of the titles. I remember that.
Yes.
What else?
That's a lot of notes, Pino. That's like more notes than usual.
Oh yeah, that's a different me. I remember
Yeah, that's
that
a whole
guy.
new you.
So let me ask you: do you respect? And I just seen them 2 weeks ago. Do you respect old boy Duran Duran?
John Taylor.
John Taylor.
Yeah.
Sure, man.
Yo, he was killing.
He played
All right,
some
so I saw them at Red Rocks. They're on tour with Nile Rodgers right now. You guys should really see them. Like they're still in top form. I believe it feels like some of those songs on the Rio album are also fretless.
I don't think so, but you know, well, maybe I'm not familiar with that album actually, but I think it was more a sonic thing back in the '80s because you didn't play bass, right? There wasn't much bottom end bass on it, and you would probably play your bass track in the control room, you know, when everything else had already been put down. So you're going for a more kind of you know, a sound that's going to pop out of the speakers. You don't really have to play support bass.
Can you play upright bass?
No, not at all.
Have you touched an upright bass?
I've touched it. I love it, but I can't play it. It's a different instrument altogether.
Really?
Yeah.
So just gun to your head. If you, Like,
Oh no, I tried to do a gig on it, and I was, my hand was so painful after like one gig, one song.
really?
It's such a physical thing. It's a different thing.
muscles.
Well, what I play is like a guitar, right? It's a bass, but it's a bass guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole different thing, yeah. But I love it.
So what steps are in between Newman and Paul and Chris DeBert? Like,
Oh
what
yeah,
steps
that's
are in
the
between?
so Newman. That led to Paul Young in a way because Paul and his producers got to hear those Newman records and imagine that sound on the record he was making, and then like Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd, I did his solo record. That was a big one for me.
Really?
Just to get a call from him and I want you to come and do this album with me in Paris. I was like, oh my God, this is it.
So for you, is Lady in Red sort of like the world's wake up call? Like, get that guy.
Yeah, it might have been, but I think more the Paul Young stuff. Because
Okay.
Chris came to me from Paul Young, Chris DeBerg, yeah, because
Right.
everyone kind of wanted that sound for a minute, that fretless sound.
So at some point, did you say, "I don't want to
Do that anymore?
I don't want to be pigeonholed into this sound"? And
Much later on, I took it happily for a long time.
yeah.
And we make for $50 a week.
You know what I'm saying? No, it went for a good while, but it did get a little tiresome, yeah, after a while because, when people want you to do what you did, not what you're going to do, it's a different thing, right?
Did the Don Henley record
Wait a
fall
minute,
somewhere?
that was a freaking gym and a half. Wait,
Yeah.
I gotta register. Say that again. When people,
Well, if somebody calls you to do a session and you're there because they want you to do what you've already done, that's different to what you're going
What
to
you
do.
could do.
You don't get a chance to do what you're going to do because they already decided the sort of thing they want.
Because they're booking you off of past work, not where you
Yeah.
may be artistically currently.
Yes.
So
Or were you-
your life must be hell after Voodoo.
Oh,
Well, that caused some trouble, yeah. But that was the amazing thing about. Well, I met you and D on the same day, right?
Right. Yeah.
On a BB King session.
Yes.
And I didn't even know he was coming. I had no idea. And I
Right.
saw you walk in with him and Russ Alvarado, and I was like, what's going on here? Anyway, I lost my train of thought there, but.
Well, if
Who's
you
causing problems? You say,
Oh yeah,
fretless. Yeah.
So as you know, me and D hit it off from that session. He heard me playing. He's like, I like that sound. I want you to come in. But the thing is, he knew nothing about my past. So I already had like a career before that.
Right.
But he wasn't coming to me from,
What he knew you could do.
yeah. He's just like this dude. I like what he's doing, and let's get together.
All
For
right.
you, was that exciting for you to kind of have the opportunity to reinvent yourself in a different way?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Did you know who or what D'Angelo was? Because it's not like we came. I mean, by that point, all we had was Send It On. That's all we had. We had Send It On.
We didn't have. Oh, I see. Song wise, no. But
Song-wise.
I had heard Brown Sugar.